You are listening to This One's for Me and You, a book of mental meal interpretations from the Motor City Sis. Written by Tracie E. Christian. Narrated by Tracie T. Elise Christian. Copyright 2016 by Tracie E. Christian. Entree number 1. Only a fool trips over what is behind them. Everybody plays the fool sometimes. There's no exception to the rule. It may be factual, it may be cruel, but everybody plays the fool. And every time I hear the main ingredient sing those words, I am painfully reminded of each time I myself have played the fool. The realization of foolish behavior never leaves a pleasant taste in anyone's mouth. The flavor is rancid at best, and no one wants to spend too much time on their less than shining moments. However, there is a such thing as overthinking the situation. Mentally harping on missteps and mistakes can wreak havoc on the forward movement needed to grow from the experience, whether it is good, bad, or indifferent. Don't get me wrong, though. Grown folks already know the value in reflection and responsibility in an attempt to right whatever wrongs we do. I simply want to stress the thought that concentrating too much on what we did can greatly hinder our ability to decide what we do next. And we all know how big an advocate I am of being anti-counterproductive. See, in our youth, we are excused for our wrongs because of what we have yet to learn. As we grow into our adulthood, we become very judgmental of our personal choices, and taking responsibility for our wrongs in a foul situation is not easy to rebound from. Yet, regardless of its uneasiness, acknowledgement of the fool in us is necessary for us to be better. Once the instance has passed, there is no need to remain in that fool-like space because now we know better. Plus, we know the fool is a role everyone has to play. Once realized, it's best to keep that part of you in the past for reflection when needed. Don't allow the fool of the past to still trip you up in your present. Otherwise, your future will be bleak and unpredictable. And if you ask me, life has enough of that for us all by itself. After all, it's not as much about how we fall as it is, more important, how we get up. Therefore, it's best to remember that only a fool trips over what is behind them, because no one looks to play the fool forever. Entree number 2. Be an open book that is careful who is allowed to turn the pages. It is a foregone conclusion that people, situations, and life will at one time or another disappoint you. However, it is not good to be closed off to others due to fear of disappointment. We have to learn to trust people to handle us the right way. We have to be open to new things and, in spite of their newness, be willing to peel off a layer of our armor when we see them. This means we have to be open at some point, even though we know the possibility for disappointment lingers in the distance. The problem, I think, is that we allow ourselves to open up to the wrong people, sometimes even at the wrong times. If we started to pay more attention to who we tell our stories to, maybe our sad endings would happen differently. I can be an open book to the ones I trust, and you should be too. However, know that my trust is just like college courses. There are prerequisites to earn it, and people will not get it by affiliation or default. In other words, no, you can't have my trust just because we're related. No, you can't have my trust because we went to school together. And no, you cannot have my trust just because someone I'm cool with trusts you. In order for me to open my book, I have to know your interest in my story comes from a good place. I have to feel like I can trust you with the plots, twists, and turns that occur in my life. And everyone simply does not and will not fit that description. In short, be particular. It is okay to think long and hard before you open your book.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.